What's happening is we're going live at the same
living.
time. Can you just get a little closer to me, Kat, so people can see you? All right, cool.
Big ol'
So
head.
we're going to have a mother-daughter discussion about physical fitness and nutrition. And this is about 10, 15 years after the fact. What we're doing right now is we're doing a new nutrition certification, and the things that we're learning we would like to give to you guys. One of the things that I found out, and we had a long discussion about, that I would like to share with you, is about children and their activity levels. Now, I always thought Catherine was a very active, I would say at least moderately active child, but as we discussed things, and after I found out what a moderately active to active child was, I realized that my reasoning for believing she was active was because she was thin. And we equate thin with being fit or healthy, right? Well, it's not necessarily true. You can be thin and not fit or not healthy. So I'm going to read to you what a sedentary child is, and you take note of this. A child who gets no other physical activity other than recess or gym at school, spends 2 hours a day or more on sedentary leisure activities such as reading and electronic devices. Mostly reading.
Spent most of my childhood reading.
Yes.
A very, very significant part of my childhood reading. Instead of going to sleep, I'd read. Instead of, eating lunch, I'd read. Instead of going to recess, I hated recess. I didn't want to go to recess. People picked on me. I couldn't run. There wasn't a single game that I was good at. I just hated it. And so I'd either try to get in trouble so I didn't have to go to recess, or I would try to sneak a book under my shirt so the recess people couldn't see, and then I'd find a sneaky place to hide and read. Because they wanted you to be active, they wanted you to do things, and I just didn't. I didn't want to move, didn't want to play, I just wanted to read.
So the child that I thought was at least moderately active, one of the reasons because she was thin, but also because we did Girl Scouts and we did all these little activities together.
We were busy, not active.
Busy, not active. That was a very good way to describe it. So a moderately active child is a child who has recess or gym, but also participates in a sport or other regular physical activity 2 to 3 times a week for an hour or more at a time, or spends at least an hour a day, 3 days a week or more playing outside. And they're not talking about just
making mud pies.
Making mud pies, thank you. They're talking about intense physical activity, the kind that makes you sweat. Mm-hmm. And an active child is a child who spends an hour or more of moderate or intense activity every single day.
And that's the medical recommendation for children, is that they should get at least an hour of intense to moderate physical activity per day.
Per day.
That means something like doing trampoline, physically playing basketball, running back and forth, skateboarding, tag, things that actually get your heart rate up, that are active for a full hour, 7 days a week.
That's an active child, all right? So a lot of times I'll have people who ask me, well, what should I cook my children if I'm on this diet, or my husband? And the nutrition plans that we recommend are not diets. We don't restrict, we don't believe in restricting whole nutrient groups, okay? So what you're cooking yourself should be the same thing you're cooking your children, and you take into account their activity levels, but they really actually usually eat more than you, and they should eat more than you.
Because they're growing, and they're regenerating, and they're little weeds.
Little weeds, I like that. What we're trying to do with this live video is explain to you what a sedentary child, a moderately active child, and an active child are, and give you some recommendations to help get your child more active. So with Catherine, she loved to read, and she loved fantasy more than anything in the world.
Yes,
so had I been more in tune with and educated really about this, I would have had some sort of LARPing games that she could have attended, where she could...
I did. I was Boffer champion.
Yes.
So if you know little foam swords, I was a champion.
Yes.
And had that been like more of a sport in my life, I probably would have pursued or fencing or something.
I mean, she could have done that daily.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of things that you can do with your children. There's a program on our streaming workouts. It's called Double Time, that I've done with Catherine. I've done on here before, where you're actually playing with your children, but it's a physical workout. And getting them started when they're very young is much easier than getting them started when they're older.
I didn't start till I was 15 or 16, and it was a slog. My first summer actually working out, she called me every single day to make sure I did my activity.
Yes.
And I hated her at first, and then I realized how much better my body felt, how much more alive I felt and capable I felt, and things that I couldn't do as a kid. I couldn't do a push-up. God couldn't do a pull-up, couldn't climb a rope, couldn't, there was no way I could keep up running with anybody. And so, like, being able to do those things in my teenage years and my later teenage years was really empowering. And the realization that the capabilities of my body enabled me to live better was such a revelation, and would have been, like, really welcome earlier on.
So I want her to share with you just a little something she did with me about the stunt woman's workout, and how that encouraged her to begin really doing all kinds of different cross training.
So I found a book, if you remember the Matrix movie, in Trinity was the character, and she was a badass.
Yes, she was.
And I thought she was so cool, and I found out she had published a book called The Stunt Woman's Workout, and I was like, I want to be like a superhero. I want to be like a stunt person or something. I don't know, but I just had this thing where I wanted to be like Frodo and Eowyn and stuff. Like, I just wanted to be,
that
something
hero.
More than I was, which is why I was so engrossed in the fantasy novels, is that escapism and that feeling of something greater. And so I got obsessed with this stunt woman's workout book, and it was full of things like, you might recognize these are things that I have now done. Juggling, circus art, like aerial circus arts, different types of calisthenics, dance, martial arts, and I decided that, I wanted to pursue all these things. And it's been such a great... Oh, and rock climbing, of course. I love rock climbing now. But it really got me to get out of my comfort zone, to face my fears, and to develop these sick biceps.
Gunge. It's the gunge. The gun show. Anyway, I hope this helps. Go ahead and comment below, message us, let us know what it is you're struggling with your kids, especially because I really wish I would have known this years ago. And so
a struggle.
My goal is to help you with your kids and the progeny that happens. Your kids. Okay? All right. Talk to you later. Have a great weekend. We're going to be doing a lot of crazy stuff this weekend. Be watching.